switch. See, like, this is already long springs, and the guy wants double stage 90 grams. That's worse, man. Do you try F2 or F1722? I have not tried F1722 or F2. I've tried the normal F18X, but not the 722. Have you tried switching the top to cherry top? I have. I mean, like, that's already like a Franken switch, Penguin. And you know me, I despise Franken switching. I despise Franken switching to a pulp. I just think Franken switches are just a waste of money, man. It's just a total waste of money. You should try MMD matcha ice cream. Okay, I'll put that on my list then. Black cherry pies, in your opinion? Great sounding switches. I think the only Franken switch I would put myself in using is the BCP. That's the only Franken switch I can justify because it's very good. But other Franken switches does not make sense for me, especially like something like what was it, like what's the tactile version of like the black cherry pie? It's something like that, man. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. To pay that amount of money for a switch does not make sense for me. Zykos, exactly. Zykos does not make sense. But again, at the end of the day, it is your budget, it is your money, you do whatever you want with your money. So if you want to spend $100 on switches, go ahead. I wouldn't, but if you want to, then so be it, right? Like this, if you spend $4,000 on a keyboard, it's your money, you want to do with it, you do with it. I'm here happy to build it. Milky Top Tangies V2 is a good combo though. Combo 2. Milky Top Tangies V2. I've tried that once, I think. It is pretty decent. Milky Top. Milky Top is good for loud switches if you want it to be muted. Is Ergo Clear Franken? Is Ergo Clear Franken? I don't think it's a Franken, right? I think it's like it's a cherry and cherry Franken, if I'm not wrong, or something like that. I have no clue. BCP H1 bottom versus BCP alpaca bottom. It sounds the same. I feel like a lot of people use H1 bottoms, but alpaca bottoms I think is the same one. BCP on Neuer. The switches are more expensive than the keyboard. I cannot justify that. Yeah, like here, like I would, like reasonably, I would not get my switches to be more expensive than the keyboard itself. It doesn't actually make sense. So I'd rather have like a cheaper switch. That's why I'm all for budget switches out there in the market. Basically, spring swapping stock switch to lighter spring. I see. Then do we call spring swapped Cherry MX blacks to Ergo blacks? Is that a thing? Remember my click keys Alps, the switches are twice as expensive as the case. I could tell, yes. Alright, let's start the stream. Right, so yeah, this is the Keychron V1 from yesterday. Let's take out the Jane. Let's take out the Tiger Jane V2. Is that a Kalam Jane? It's not Kalam Jane. No. Tiger Jane, yes. I put Boba U4T on my VX5 Pro last year. Well, it is like an upgrade if you put expensive switches on your budget keyboard. It's an upgrade, but I would say it's not as worth it. Jane ME is coming 2 more weeks, by the way, guys. So I'm gonna build the TGR Jane ME around 2 more weeks when it arrives. And then, yeah, but as of right now, we have the TGR Jane V2 CE edition. I've built the TGR Jane. The normal TGR Jane has been built by me. This time we have the TGR Jane V2 CE edition, which has a carbon fiber back. I've bought Cherry High Rose a long time ago. I don't know why it's so expensive. Cherry High Rose? I've heard of it. I've heard of high rose switches, but I've never understood what it is. What's the main difference between CE and ME magnets? The back. Well, I mean, let's take a look at the keyboard. So this is the TGR Jane V2 CE edition. So it has a carbon fiber back. Carbon fiber back. The normal Jane uses like a stainless steel back. And on the top we have the Jane logo with this lovely racing colored Toblerone, a lot of people say. ME has no internal weight. Yeah, okay. This one has internal weight. See? This has the... I'm sorry if anyone's trypophobia, but yeah. Jane, or... I don't think it's a competition between Jane or Mr. Suit. It has to be Jane. Jane for sure. Here's the side profile of the keyboard. Looks pretty good. Pretty simple. And here's the top of the keyboard. We have the TGR logo over here. And we have the brass weight. We have a FR4 half plate, but today we're going to use a full carbon fiber plate. Again, here's the top of the keyboard. It still uses a mini USB, as all TGRs do most of the time. And we have the, of course, Jane Toblerone. Now we're using full carbon. Full carbon. What's the hype behind Jane? It's a very well designed keyboard, I would say. It's one of, first of all, TGR is already expensive. They're a very well renowned manufacturer of keyboards. They make really good keyboards. This is an example of one of the better TKLs in the market. It's so good in terms of like the build quality, the feel of the keyboard, the sound of the keyboard. Their keyboards are like super high-end and they're famous for that. So yeah, right. So for the plate, this is our plate for today.